fiction, science fiction, horror, fantasy, crime, LGBT, thriller.
You have now entered the House of Mystery.
Welcome back into the House of Mystery. I'm Al Warren. We got Mr. Joe, the Louvre thief of Coldberg.
Hey, I'm studying the Louvre. Remember, I'm writing a heist book. It's on my list of things to do.
Well,
so I'm
we know
studying
you did
up
it.
on the Louvre. I was neither yay or nay. Yeah, that was bridge night that night. But
Bridge.
I don't know where that came from.
They don't do bridge anymore.
Flashing back to my mom and the card tables in the living room.
Yeah, playing bridge and rummy and all that sort of stuff.
There was an article yesterday in the Times, I think, about the history of the guy who's behind the Louvre Louvre heist. I pulled it down because I have a heist book in the works in my mind.
Well, they caught them. Didn't they catch them?
They caught 4, I think.
4.
But and I was just a story yesterday talking about how they messed up on the DNA, and the guy who was behind it was sort of a loner. I actually got to read it. I just can't read the first paragraph, but get the mindset of these people who robbed the most famous museum in the world. I mean, how's it even possible?
It sounds like they were making another Ocean's 11 movie, and they just got caught in the midst of filming. The whole part there.
And we've got the other Louvre criminal here.
Where were you?
Yeah, where were you? Yeah. Miss Ann Charles is here, and she's going to be talking about Chewed Up by the Jungle. It's a dig site mystery, book 3.
Book 3, I know. Here we go.
Yeah, what is a dig site mystery?
They are mystery / adventure / supernatural. You know me, add humor, spots of romance. It's all mixed together. It takes place down in the Yucatán. And I create dig sites for the Maya. So I didn't want to use real Maya dig sites like Chichen Itza and all those good ones because it just seemed like I would just be setting myself up to mess up smaller details, that smart readers are going to go, hey, wait a second. So I thought I'm going to create my own dig sites for each of these books I write and put, set mysteries. And it seemed like a great idea at the time. It takes a ton of research to do it well, turns out. So maybe it would have been easier, but I create my own dig sites, and it's the same crew in each book. We move from one dig site to the next, and the heroine's an archaeologist, and the hero's a photojournalist, and there's a lot of crew around them that are fun, and they're digging up stuff in the jungle and supernatural. So it's kind of based on the idea of what if the mythology for the Maya, all their beliefs and religion, what if it was based on truth, things that were really happening, beings that were there.
So wait a minute, you said something. You said smart readers? You've got smart readers?
I
don't have any.
I got the smart ones. What's that about? They come in and they know stuff, and so I have to work extra hard because they know so much. Yeah,
that's just Joe. He does that on purpose. He
Well, that's all I was going to ask. How do you know so much? I mean, how do you research archaeological digs, supernatural, and the Mayan history?
How do I do that?
How do you do it? I mean, do you teleport yourself back as you are supernatural?
Well, I'm working on AI, like I mentioned when we first got on, and so I'll get myself there via AI. The AI one will go back because I'm not going to deal with all the mosquitoes and bugs and snakes in the jungle, so the AI one can do it. Seriously, though, it is a ton of research. These books take me longer than my typical books because I do include so much research. Just with each chapter, it seems like now I'm digging into this. Now I'm digging into things like what is the site of, a butterfly mean in the Maya belief system? And if it's if there's certain colors, they mean certain things. If it's a black butterfly, it's bad omen, stuff like that. So I researched that stuff about the vultures, king vultures that are down there and how they play into the Maya had a lot of iconography. Did I say that right? With vultures, a lot of beliefs based around them. And then there's so much. They were such a huge civilization with so many sectors, and each was slightly different in their beliefs. And it's just an incredible amount of research. And then lay that as the foundation of the story and add fiction characters on top of it. within that.
Well, how do you do that and not feel overwhelmed?
I am often overwhelmed.
I was going to say, like, what do you do? Because because it's almost like going into the middle of something and then leads to another, and you've got all these doors open and you've got to figure out all this stuff, and that's still on top of the story itself. So, like, I think that would be very overwhelming. Do drugs, drinking, like, what's going on?
A little bit of everything as I go, right? It's, I don't know. I once told somebody, I don't look into the sun too often. And he said, what does that even mean? And I said, I don't know. It just means, I try not to think about it too much because I'm afraid if I look too much into this, I'm going to lose that ability. But a lot of times before I start writing and really planning, I will just immerse myself in everything I can find video-wise and reading and really soak up a lot of stuff and then just start daydreaming and think, how am I going to create? What's the site? What's the purpose of the site? The site becomes a character in these novels because I have to develop the whole history and the characters that were there before, and what was going on at that site. Because if you pay attention to different, real locations down there for the Maya, like Chichen Itza, it had its own story. Each dig site has its own story, or I should say, site, Palenque, all those, of what happened, who the kings were, what the story was, who they were, who they fought with, and all that. So it's creating a whole new addition to all those, all fiction.
We used to call it chicken pizza.
I'm going there in December, and now every time I think about it, I'm going to think chicken pizza.
That's what
let me ask sort of the traditional ask an author question, but it kind of makes sense since there is this complexity here of plot versus main character versus location. What I know you have a main character. What kind of comes first? Do you pick a spot? Do you say, I need to throw my person in harm's way? Let's put it here.
I think the location, the dig site where I'm going to set it, the fictional location comes first. And I start thinking I look at a big map and I look at the terrain, and do I want this to be more in the northern area, which is later times Maya, or do I want it to be the south where it was the earlier eras? That makes a difference because things, what was believed, what was done in like Tikal, which is to the south, is very different than chicken pizza, Chichen Itza. So I first have to figure out where in time I want to set this thing. How long ago shall we do this? Then I start picking out, once I pick a location, then I start daydreaming about what happened at this site. And now, since I have supernatural, and I also have to learn, every time learn more about the mythology, their beliefs, all that good stuff. I have to really soak that up. And then I start letting my imagination go with what all happened at this dig site. And it's always, something really interesting. And so that's the first thing I do. And then I bring the characters in. With book 3, I already have set characters, but then I add new. Like this time we had 3 new guys that were there to kind of guard, because we're down where the cartels run through, with guns, with all kinds of illegal stuff, plus stealing, artifacts. So what kind of crimes, what kind of things, we have to deal with. So I brought in 3 different characters that are from different areas that are acting as the guards for this one, which I hadn't had before. So that was kind of fun, imagining that. It takes me a while. I wish I could write as fast as the readers want. They would love it if I put a book out every month. Like I said, I got to develop the AI clone and make that happen, because Ann Charles is a big, slow human.
We'll get to work. What do you mean? What do you cut down on the sleep? 2 hours a day, and let's just get going here. Like, what are you doing?
I know. What am I doing? Why am I spending time with my family? What's wrong with me?
Oh, it all comes back, and it just costs money. Don't do that. Oh, well, how do you decide on the story? How do you know then? I mean, now this is book 3, and so you've got some characters, and then you've added new ones, so you've got some drama and things going on with the different people. But the main part of the story, or the plot, how do you decide on that? Like, that's kind of the unique thing that you're centered around.
For this particular series, it a lot of times has to do with the actual site, the whatever I've created, the dig site that they're working on, and the site's history. It really has to do with that. I will come up with that part first and daydream the whole life back then. Once I can picture the scene and I know the history of what happened there, then I can say, okay, what's the mystery now going to be? What happened here that was a mystery then that these modern day people are trying to figure out through archaeology? And now we have LIDAR, that we've had it for a long time, but do you guys know what LIDAR is?
No, but it sounds like it's something they need.
I'm going to give a really
come on. Let's hear your 2-sentence explanation of LIDAR. I'm
going to give a really bad explanation because I've moved on to the next series, so now I'm in another world. But let's go back to the dig site series. It's when they fly over with an airplane and they do this this laser technology now, and they're going over, and it can get through the trees and see the elevation of the ground and record that. So then when you lay that out on a map, you don't see trees like you would just with aerial photography. You actually see bumps in the ground. And now they're able to use that to actually see the scars, if you will, of past dwellings, civilizations, where before the trees were doing such a good job of covering it, they couldn't really tell. And if you're on the ground, you can't tell because it's too thick of vegetation. But with LIDAR, they can go scan this whole area and get the lay of the land and see, oh, this looks like a temple, and here is another building, and here's this, and we can see this is a built-up road that they called sock bays, or sock bayob for plural. But anyway, they can see all that now, so much clearer, and it's just caused amazing advancements down there for archaeology. I think they can see through sand too. So over in Egypt, this is becoming more of a thing as well. Not like all the way through sand, but they can see better. They can go down through, I believe. But I know for the jungle, they're doing a lot.
Subtext, there's no meaning. Like you're not sitting down you don't have this a subtext kind of like you want to get something across to the readers. You're doing this out of entertainment and mystery and sort of all that. You're not focused on something deeper.
Yes and no. I like to share real history. I love history. I like to share it with readers, but I like to incorporate, maybe surround it with fiction, lace fiction through it. But one of the goals I have with this particular series is to teach people more about the Maya civilization and all their amazing accomplishments, because I'm enthralled with, oh my gosh, the things they knew. And they had no computers. They had no, it was all, they just knew so much mathematically, came up with the concept of zero, made a huge difference, in the math world. They were so, as a group, so much was done, so much intelligence. And then came conquistadors and the Spanish. They burned their codices, their books that they had written. They burned all this stuff up. They had all this knowledge collected. The Spanish came in back then and just killed and destroyed, and brought smallpox with some of their later visits, wiped out, I believe, in many places, it's 90% of the people. I mean, if you think about that, there's 10 of you in your family, you're the only one left. It was huge. It was like they almost got totally eradicated, but they've come back. They're still Maya, and they're bringing back all their stuff. They're teaching the language again to their people. So I just find them incredibly interesting, and all that they've accomplished. And we keep learning more and more. What you thought 10 years ago, I mean, it was like 30 when I was young. I'm so old now, but when I was young, the thought was the Maya were very peaceful farming people. Well, no, they had a lot of wars, a lot of fighting. It wasn't all peaceful, so we just keep learning, and it's exciting. And I try to share that love of that with the readers. And it's really cool because a lot of the people that have read it already and gotten back with me, they say things like, wow, that was so much fun. I love the dialogue. The banter was great. I've learned so much about the Maya. and I learned about this, and I love this. Now I'm going to go study. I've been watching stuff on National Geographic now about the Maya because of all, I'm so interested now. So that's exciting to me, share that love of history, and I guess get people engaged in that.
Hey, and you have big concepts. You got big history, big culture, big topics. Where does the individual characters in Quint, where does that fit into the story? That's a level of importance, character development.
So they're always, one of the things, Quint is a great character. He's the photojournalist. That's the outsider coming in. Because Angélica, the heroine, she's an archaeologist. She's been there. She has studied these people all her life. So you have Quint as the outsider, which is us, the reader, a lot of times coming in. And, he's the comedian in the story. He's always, making people laugh. He jumps in and gets, his hands dirty all the time. So he brings us in there with him and makes you feel like, okay, here I am at the dig site with this guy. He hates the bugs. He hates the humidity. He's dealing with all that. He just wants an ice cold beer. Just, let me have that, please. And so through then Angélica and her father, who also has been working in this field his whole life, we learn, and there's other archaeology grad students there. We're learning all kinds of stuff about nature. Like one of the guards actually is a ranger for Calakmul Biosphere Reserve, which is right next door. So you're learning all about that too. But then the goal is to bring this information to you as if you were there next to Quint, helping out, cutting your way through the forest, learning about this thing, that thing, the Maya, all of it. And at the same time, there's a dangerous mystery going on and a threat to life, right? Because of something from the past that's coming back. That's where we get the supernatural and all that goes on. So the characters are instruments to propel the story forward slowly in a way, hopefully, that's engaging and makes you chew your knuckles a little bit as you're going, what is this site, for example, in this book? What was the purpose of this site? This is really creepy. What happened here? That kind of a thing.
So do you have a favorite character in this storyline, or someone you really relate to the most?
I really like her father, the heroine's father, who, like I said, is an archaeologist too. He's been doing this, for 40 plus years. And her mother had passed away at a site, helicopter accident. So he's, very, very much in tune with his daughter. They work as a pair. And I just like the way he comes at with his sense of humor a lot of times when it comes to the romance part with, and he's a very calming factor. Like, she gets a little uptight and so into whatever she's doing. And he's like, pull it back a little. I don't know. And the older I get, I think I'm getting closer to his age, so I can relate more and more to him.
Yeah, you're like older guys, dad bods.
Yeah, there we go.
The Mayans are really old guys.
They're very, very old, yeah. I just like his level-headedness through it all, but yet he knows a lot. His specialty is structural, so I get to, through him, talk about any temples, all this other stuff, all this other part of this story, and looking at it in a different way, and it's kind of fun.
So he's kind of like an anchor in a way, kind of like
yes,
and then things fly around in the story, but he's kind of your stable anchor in a way.
Yes, very much so, and he's the hero and heroine. Of course, that's where the romance comes in, and they're not, their relationship is not perfect. One of the things I like to play on more is how, everybody it's a constant, relationship is a constant thing you work at. If you are someone that says, no, my spouse and I are always happy and we never argue, I'm like, get out. What are you guys on? Because that's just not real life to me. It doesn't mean you fight all the time. It just means you're each individuals. You're
bad characters. You're the ones that are the evil, so to speak. How do you handle that character?
Well, each book, so there's 3 in this series, and each has been different villains when I think about it. And I don't want to give away too much on who they are or what they do, but I always try to, before I start a book, I do kind of a really high level character worksheet, goal, motivation, conflict, in both exterior and interior goals, motivation, conflict. Internal, I should say, not internal being, your hidden desires, and external being, I want to get a promotion. That'd be more something like that. So I do that with each of the villains and keep that in mind, that the whole time we're going through with them, it's not like I'm just going to be a villain because I am going to be a big bad villain. There's a purpose, there's drive, there's a whole reason for what they're trying to accomplish that's going against the hero and heroine. And just kind of feeding that to the reader too. Not that they know who the villain is or necessarily what's going to happen, but once you know, then you go, oh, that's why they did this. I get it now, that kind of a thing.
And tell me your philosophy about your writing in series. Some of them have lots of books in them. Some have a few books. This has 3. I think Deadwood had, 8, 9, 10.
14 on Deadwood.
14? Jeez.
And I'm working on Jackrabbit number 7.
Jackrabbit. Yes, yeah. So tell me about that philosophy of writing in series. Not just saying, I'm going to write my series. I've got my detective guy, and I'm going to write 20 books on him. But you write in these series. What's your philosophy there?
I think I'm lonely, and my interior child has to have more friends and won't let them leave. We just keep playing, and I go, I'm bored with you guys for right now. We just did a book. I'm going to go over here and hang out with these guys now. I don't like saying goodbye. That's been a thing ever since I was a kid and I read a book. I don't want the end to come because I enjoy the characters, especially if you really like your characters. They become living, breathing, people that and you want them to keep going. And so from the start that, I wrote a couple single title books long ago that didn't see the light of day. And then I started with the Jackrabbit series actually. And I was like, oh, and I wrote this first one and I had an agent at the time and she said, I love this. This is great. You've got book 2 going, don't you? And I said, what are you talking about? That's it. And she goes, no, this is clearly a series. So I don't even know what I was doing that made it clearly a series, but apparently it was in there. So ever since then, I just do what I do. And they're the same characters in different situations. Sometimes the same settings. In the Dig Site series, I change the setting up every time, which is kind of fun. So I don't know why. I just like series and I enjoy returning to them and going back and exploring each one more and building. And
you keep track of it, no problem. You don't get them mixed up, or you don't, because there's so many characters with all these different books, right? There's never a conflict sort of in the mind trying to get this all worked out.
They're all in the same world. I mean, like the hero, Quint, in this Chewed Up by the Jungle is the brother of Violet Parker, who's the heroine in the Deadwood series. So I intersperse history between them, things that happen, but then, keeping it separate too. So there's crossovers, I guess you could say. And way back, I had written the 3rd book in the Deadwood series, and I had written 2 books in the Jackrabbit and had them out. And a wonderful lady came to me at a book signing. She was there to see someone else. And she came over to my table.
There to see Joe.
Yeah, right over here. I was sweeping.
She came over to my lonely table and said, I read your books. And I was like, she goes, I really enjoyed them. And I said, oh, good. And she said, do you know you changed the eye color of this character in the last one? And I was like, oh, man. She goes, and she said, I could keep track of that for you. And I said, what do you mean? She goes, I could do spreadsheets on all your characters and your plots for each book and keep it all together to help you, keep track. And I said, I have been wishing for you for years to just come into my world and say that. I tried to loop a friend at work. Hey, you want to keep track of all this for me? No. And here she came for me. So I manifested. I don't know. You can call it whatever you want. I wished for her. And she's been doing it ever since. She has these huge spreadsheets for me that I go back and I look at. Plus like I said, I'm getting ready to write the 7th Jackrabbit series book, and I just spent the last few weeks reading the first 7 plus the shorts, or the first 6 plus the shorts. I reread so that I can sink back in over there. I'm not talented enough to do multiples at once like so many authors are. I'm in awe of them. I just do one series at a time and shift all the time.
So you've never thought of going for help? Like, we know this person doesn't exist that does the spreadsheets, so you just made her up, right? But it's all.
I did. I created her, and then she showed up. Yeah.
So it's all part of this world. You're not going to go get any help for any of this, are you? Yeah.
No, I don't know why I didn't start back. I should be creating, okay, Anne wins multi-million lottery. What am I doing? I'm manifesting things I should be thinking bigger than manifesting, a whole army of clones that do it all for me. Well, I just sit back and eat bonbons or something.
Right. With all your dolls down in the basement.
All my creepy stuff.
That you've named after these characters. Yeah. So you're never going to end any of these series then?
I wouldn't say never. Never say never.
But no intention.
I would say when it feels like the readers are winding down and they're not, give me the next, hurry up and write the next one, and they're not super still involved, then I will start looking at maybe it's time to close this for now, and kind of wrap it up somewhat. But at this point, with everyone I put out in the different series, they're ready for the next and they're excited, So at this point, I don't see an end yet. There's some other stuff I'd like to write, another series I'd like to start, but I just, I don't know. I'm waiting for that clone. I don't have time.
Clone romance. There you go.
There we go.
Have you ever just wanted to get out of this supernatural and write the next To Kill a Mockingbird?
Jackrabbit Junction that I'm writing is not supernatural. It's mystery adventure. So it is a different flavor. So no, not yet, because I do have some variety, in within each series. That makes me, like the one I write with my husband, the Deadwood Undertaker, that's a lot of Western historical. So I get to dabble in that, but then pull back and keep it together. Maybe I'm just super controlling and I have to have all these things for me and mine, crazy. See, I'm back to the basement with the dolls.
Yeah, well, somebody's got to be, right? But do you age your characters normally? Like, is it a significant part of the stories? Like, do they actually really get older, or is it more like Patterson method where they seem to stay the same age?
No, I do age. Time goes on, and that's been one of the difficulties. People have wanted more with this dig site series to match up, to have more crossover into the Deadwood series, since they're siblings, the main characters. But the Deadwood series in time is months behind, and every book takes about a week or two on the page, meaning in time. So time does keep going forward, and there's character growth, and there's all this, stuff happening. But I've got Deadwood and Jackrabbit lined up together, so I go, and they fit in, so if you can read them by time and go back and forth, which is kind of fun, instead of just by series order. But I'm not caught up to the dig site. They're a few months ahead yet. So we do move with time. We do have them learn from their mistakes, and the knowledge, is mentioned and continues into the next story. So they're not like an Agatha Christie, like here's a murder mystery here, and then here's this one over here. Even though we still have the same, some of the same people, the same inspector. I can't think of what his name is right now. All I can think is Kenneth Branagh. Yeah, there we go. I was going to say Kenneth Branagh played him in the things I just watched. But so I have same characters, but time is passing and they're learning. But we're not going like years between. So when I started, I was closer in age to Violet Parker from the Deadwood series, mid-30s. And now I'm not. I'm decade plus beyond that. So now I'm getting to be the same age as some of the slightly older characters, which is fun. And
you still call them older, don't you? Even though
I know, right?
Isn't that
I'm
strange?
Still a little kid. In my head, I'm still out playing in the dirt. I'm still a kid.
Yeah, me too.
We're all 29 in the mirror.
Yes.
I just don't look in the mirror. It's better that way. Well, again, it's always great talking to you. And so let's see. You've got this one out now, and you're working on another right now, or you're working on a different series, right?
Yeah, I'm working on the Jackrabbit Junction mystery series. This is the one that's a mix of mystery adventure, rowdy times down in the small watering hole in the desert, with lots of treasure hunting kind of ideas that come into play on this one. So when I research, it's more about different treasures that have gone missing, stuff stolen. The kind of villain of it all, of this whole series, is he was a thief of thieves. So he would skim off whatever he was moving for some, through the black market for thieves, and he'd keep some stuff for himself. Well, now people are coming looking for the stuff that he stole and hidden, kind of tucked in around the desert in this different setting. And the people that are there now are dealing with his, the outcome of all that. And the people coming in and they're not nice people that are coming to get what he stole. So that's where it's kind of like treasure hunting adventure.
So did you watch a lot of those old movies, like The Mummy and stuff like that from the 50s and 40s?
I have over time, yes. And a lot of, when they come out with like the new Frankenstein they just came out with again, I like to see, in the Nosferatu stuff they do. I think I'm saying that right. Vampire. So I do like to watch some of this old stuff, but I also, for this series, I like to watch Treasure Island, the movies they've made off that book. And just
greatest book of all time. Top book.
And I will often read it too, right before I get started. Just go back through it one more time just to get that feel, let's go. It's an adventure.
We're on the same wavelength there.
Except for you like Oak Island.
I like Oak Island. Yeah, it's treasure hunting, right?
Yeah.
And then so much stuff came out of that book. You made it all up, and now it's part of our culture, and just so well done.
Yes, I agree. It's fun.
There we have it. We've learned a lot about Anne Charles.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, this is good.
And there's never too much. There's never too much to learn.
No.
Wait till her clone comes along, then we'll be in trouble.
Yes, wait till you meet the clone.
Twice as much Anne.
I have to think of I think that's another character. I'm going to have to come with a new name and a history. Boy.
Pan Charles. Well, we appreciate being here. Now, everyone, get the book, Chewed Up by the Jungle. And it's a dig site mystery, and it's book 3. Anne Charles, she needs the money. Come on.
Check it out. Go down to the jungle with me. You can sweat on the page on the cold winter night. If you're up, I guess you're in the southern hemisphere, it's going to be hot no matter what.
Yeah.
But still.
It's always warm, right? Stuff like that. And let's give out your website so people can come find you.
Sure. It's AnnCharles.com. There's no E after Anne, so just AnnCharles.com. And
it's spelled
if you
the right way.
Go to books, it's all there with links, and then you can go check out reviews if you like to do that. Whatever check out the different stuff. And these books, I try to write them so you could read them without having read any other. It just makes it more rich, more fun if if you've been with the characters all along. But I do give you enough history to understand the lay of the land when you get started on whichever book.
Well, there you go. Anne Charles, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. It was great being on here again.
This has been a production of the House of Mystery Radio Show. To find out more about our show, guests, or hosts, go to our website at houseofmysteryradio.com.